Welcome back to the Father-Daughter Detective Agency, the case of the Jubilee Jigsaw, Episode 3. In our last episode, we met with Gladys Rathbone, head of HR. She informed us that Marcus had been involved with another near drowning, but was supposedly exonerated from that as he was deemed a mechanical failure.
I also ran into another maid named Phoebe Judge, who told me that Lopez had been seen going in and out of Elizabeth's cabin, but of course none of this could actually be confirmed.
And now, Episode 3. Wednesday, May 5th, I decide to visit Sam, the bartender, in his bar. It's a typical dark, moody, smoke-filled bar room. Liquor bottles line the back wall, and a chrome jukebox plays Stormy over in the corner. Sam is a tall, thin, balding man, wearing thick black glasses and a 70s porn stash. Grace remained back in the room, catching up on the latest Bob's Burger episode since she's under 21. Sam, that's a pretty typical name for a bartender, wouldn't you say?
Dan, that's a pretty ubiquitous name, wouldn't you say? It was only the 10th most popular name in 1976.
True, you got me there. Do you recognize this man?
Oh yes, he's become quite the regular. Always orders the same drink, Blue Hawaii cocktail. 3/4 ounces vodka, 3/4 ounces light rum, half an ounce of Blue Curacao, 3 ounces pineapple juice, 1 ounce sweet and sour mix, garnish with a pineapple wedge, and 2 cocktail umbrellas.
Always?
Always.
By the way, what is Curacao?
That's a very interesting question. Curacao liqueur is traditionally made with the dried peels of La Raja. La Raja is a bitter orange native to Curacao with the Latin name Citrus cross Aurantium subspecies Curacaoviensis. Spanish explorers brought the bitter Seville orange to the island in 1527, the progenitor of the La Raja. Although the bitter flesh of the La Raja is unpalatable, the peels are pleasantly aromatic. There are no definitive facts to point out who developed the first Curacao liqueur and when. It was discovered that an aromatic oil could be extracted from the unripe peel of the otherwise useless bitter oranges, and they had this oil exported back to Amsterdam to develop a liqueur similar to current-day Curacao. Sources are unclear precisely how the original blue color was derived. However, modern mixes add a food colorant, most often E133 Brilliant Blue.
I'm glad you cited your sources.
Always.
Do you remember if this guy was here on the 11th around 10 p.m.?
Definitely. That night he also ordered chocolate churros.
Whoa, you serve those here? I love those things.
This is a cruise ship. We have everything. Did you know churros were introduced to South America during the Spanish Inquisition in the 1500s? Around the same time, the Spanish returned to Europe with cacao.
I'm sorry, I don't have time for another history lesson, but you do have an uncanny memory.
Call it a gift or a curse. You don't know how hard it is walking around with all this knowledge. And nobody cares. Nobody cares. So much useless information. I can tell you the names of every member of the 1972 Shelby Le Mans racing team, every component on a Moog synthesizer circuit board, every lyric to all of the songs in the musical Cabaret.
Actually, the last one kind of interests me.
Really?
But I gotta go. Thank you for your time.
What good is sitting alone in your room? Come to the cabaret.
Thursday, May 6th. It's now Saturday. Rain gently showers the ship, and a rainbow appears in the sky to the east. Grace sits on her bed, fumbling to open an envelope that has just been delivered to the room. I still can't get over the size of Larry's cabin, while we're crammed in this tiny little cell. Heck, my cubicle at work is larger than this. Hey, what's that you got, Grace?
It's the results from the analysis on the cable.
Ooh, it's like the Oscars. Welcome to the 21st Annual Felony Awards. And tonight, our nominees for Most Likely to Murder are, drumroll please, Mr. Oscar Lopez, Miss Elizabeth Street, or Mr. Meat. And the winner is...
Stop, I've got some bad news for you.
Oh?
It came back with all of their fingerprints on it.
Inconceivable!
The good news is, the results are definitive. It was cut. This was definitely no accident.
Well, I finally got a copy of the tape from the camera in the hallway of Carmen's room from the 11th.
And?
Lopez is definitely seen going into her room around 10 p.m., the same time the bartender said her husband was in the bar. Friday, May 7th. We finally decided to bring Oscar Lopez into the interrogation room. Grace and I sit on one side of the wooden desk across from Lopez, who fidgets uneasily. So, Grace, you want to play the bad cop?
Do I?
Why did you bring me here? I am an innocent man, I tell you. You've got nothing on me, nothing. From hell's heart, I stab at thee. I spit my last breath.
Cut the dramatics. Now, who are you really? Take off that mask.
Dad, this isn't Scooby-Doo.
Oh, sorry. I've been binging season 1. It's so good.
I know, Velma's my fave. She's the only smart one.
Yeah, but where do they keep all those Scooby snacks? I never see them carrying around a backpack or anything. Are they just keeping a pocket full of dog treats?
I do.
Wait, you do?
Don't judge.
I am a very quiet and patient man.
If you're so innocent, Mr. Lopez, why are you using Leopold's identity?
Dun, dun, dun!
Why do you have to do that every time, Dad?
Look, we don't have a budget for big fancy sound effects and everything, okay?
It's true. It's true. I was fired from the Empire Cruise Line and I used my cousin Leopold's identity to get a job on this ship. But I never murdered anyone.
And why were you fired?
I was caught using the same plate when I went back to the all-you-can-eat buffet. I am so ashamed.
Wow, I knew they took that stuff seriously, but to be fired for it?
It was in my contract. It was called the Clean Plate Clause.
That may be so, but we have video evidence of you going into Carmen's cabin while her husband was out. What was that all about?
But I was giving her salsa lessons.
Can we really be so sure of that?
I have this video on my phone of one of our lessons.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh, oh, wow, wow, she's really awful.
I know. Teaching her has been a real test of my patience.
I can tell.
She should be on that white people dancing TikTok. You should upload it.
You think?
Yes. Later, in the same interrogation room, sitting at the same wooden table, we're joined by Marcus Meat. A single naked light bulb dangles overhead, and Marcus's breath comes in heavy, raspy gasps. Are you okay? Have you been running?
Stairs.
I know what you mean.
We have reason to believe that you may have been responsible for tampering with the zip line.
Huh?
Meddling with the integrity of the steel?
What?
Cutting the cable!
Nah.
Your fingerprints were found on this cable. Do you have an explanation for that?
What's your alibi?
Well, you see, technically this is a wire rope. They lay around a center in a specified pattern in one or more layers to form a strand. The strands are helically laid together around the center, typically some type of core, to form a wire rope. The strands provide all the tensile strength of a fiber core rope and over 90% of the strength of a typical 6-strand wire rope with an independent wire rope core. Properties like fatigue, resistance, and resistance to abrasion are directly affected by the design of strands. In most strands with 2 or more layers of wires, inner layers support outer layers in such a manner that all wires must slide and adjust freely when the rope bends. As a general rule, a rope that has strands made up of a few large wires will be more abrasion resistant and less fatigue resistant than a rope of the same size made up of strands with many smaller wires. This cable was also rotation resistant with a galvanized coating to prevent rust and corrosion. The tensile strength of a 6-strand cable of that nature is 21,400 foot-pound. In order to cut a cable of that diameter would take 38,000 pounds or 19 tons of pressure. Talk to the parts manager. All tools must be checked in and out of the tool cage daily. Check the log. I never signed that part out.
I have the log right here. He's right. The last time the tool was checked out was about 3 weeks ago.
Really? And who was it checked out to? Jeffrey! Jeffrey, why'd you do it? His master's toenails have gotten rather thick over the years recently, and traditional toenail clippers just weren't sufficient. Wait, I will not allow this to evolve into the trope of the butler being the one who did it. I'm not a butler. Quiet. There has to be another explanation. What did you do with the cutters when you were through with them? I believe I left them in the bathroom on the counter. I drew the master's bath and I went to help him change into his bathing uniform. Bathing uniform? Surely you don't expect him to bathe in the nude, do you? We're not proletariats. Then what happened? Well, when I returned, the clippers had disappeared. Dun dun dun.
Dad, again with the sound effects?
Sorry.
Who else has access to this room?
The only other person in the room that day was one of the maids. Think hard. Which one was it? Seem to remember that it said, I think her name was, yes, Lizzie. Elizabeth Street!
Quick, we must check her locker.
Rushing down to the locker room where the maids keep their uniforms, we quickly throw open the locker door marked ES. Grace tosses several changes of clothes on the ground, tossing out several leftover lunch containers, a collection of Pokemon cards, and a bottle of vitamins. Flintstone variety. Unfortunately, however, there is no industrial cutting tool to be found. Blast! This has been the Father-Daughter Detective Agency, the case of the Jubilee Jigsaw, Episode 3. Stay tuned for Episode 4, where we'll hear the delivery boy say, "I'm 15, sir."
Join us again next time.